In fact, hang on. We have a piece of fan mail that goes right along with this. This is from Quentin Ridley, and it said, subject, wrote the Quaven. Hey, Raven, enjoyed you and Busby. Oh, he called you by your real name. Enjoyed you and Busby covering the Observer Hall of Fame. I think Meltzer is more of a negative influence on wrestling's popularity than almost anyone, as he's a very non-objective authoritarian. Anyway, I side with you and Busby that a successful wrestler draws the crowd, but you guys eliminate a lot of utility players since they weren't given the ball to make big-time moolah. But what if their popularity still stacked the card? And then after that, blah, blah. And then he goes, I'm no Benoit apologist, but I think wrestlers like him who played their part as great supporters are essential as the guys in the closing match. But you can't be a Benoit apologist.
Are there Benoit apologists looming out there?
Maybe so. It says if
he
someone...
was a nice guy, though. He was a nice guy.
Yeah, this guy, I think, is totally off, other than... so maybe he's even off about Meltzer being a negative influence, but he says, if someone gets over huge at the bottom of the card, aren't they still big draws? No.
Nope.
And does a short-term top drawer who couldn't work deserve it more than a solid draw who wasn't on top of that longevity? Yes.
It's a money business. It's a money, it's just, and also that idea of, and I can remember specifically, and I'm sure you heard it too, that that was one of the things Eric Bischoff back when we worked in WCW. I mean, you don't draw, the whole who draws, who doesn't was very much something that was thrown in people's faces quite a bit.
Yeah, but if you were not given a chance to draw, then that's kind of, you have to give them a chance first to draw before you can say they don't. But if they don't get the chance, it doesn't mean you can still make them a Hall of Famer, because that's wrong. So an email that I thought had relevance to our story, apparently did not. And that's what I get for not reading the whole thing.
But you didn't pre-read that?
No, I don't pre-read anything. I don't even preheat the oven.
Can I? Oh boy.
Yeah, Selena. Thank God Selena does, though.
I just need a second for that one. I was going to keep going, but it's so bad. I was going to say that Meltzer doesn't come up a lot. Like we said, we talked about this once before, but here's my biggest issue with Dave Meltzer is I just like to hear him say once, yeah, I get a lot of things right, but I also know that I am often used as sort of a platform for disgruntled talent.
Oh, yeah.
He just never says it.
Just once admit you're wrong.
Yeah.
The first time I came out as Raven, he says, it looks like a baby Undertaker. How wrong could that be? But no, never a retraction. Not that I even wanted a retraction, just, maybe I misjudged it, but never. And also there's more typos than I can count in that thing.
Yeah, and I mean he's prolific. He writes a lot. I think
really
that's
does.
Great.
And he gets great news, and he covers a lot of stuff, and
Absolutely.
He's amazing at that. As an actual writer, I'm not the biggest fan of his writing skills, but also he has so many typos and extra words and extra letters and mistakes, and that should count. I mean, if we're going to count when we make mistakes, then he should count when he makes mistakes. That's all I have to say.
Who else got in?
Mike and Ben Sharp. I don't see how they were never in before.
Iron Mike Sharp and Ben Sharp?
No, his dad.
Oh, I was going to say. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
They were like the guys from the 20s or 30s or 40s or some year, but they were like the biggest stars and had, against Ricky Dozan and stuff, and put wrestling on the map in Japan. I mean, for that alone.
Yeah, just for sort of creating that relationship, which has just existed for years now.
Yeah, I mean, the very first tour, and I mean, it's a huge deal. And look, let me just rephrase. It's not that I have anything against Meltzer. I think the guy, I don't know the guy, but I think he does. I think he's an intrinsic part of the business. I just think that he has way too much. He gets way too much, whether he makes typos or not, I could care less. And whether he retracts anything, I just think it shows a sign of grace. If you say, I thought this, and this, and then you realize, and then something gets over. It's like, when I thought, like I told you, I thought Goldust wouldn't get over, and it got over huge. I totally had to eat crow. But I think eating crow is a big part of being somebody in the, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, you get it.
Grandpa, you drop your pills.
Yeah, thanks. But I do think I think it's really good, because that way, otherwise I'd have to really work hard to find out what's going on in the business.
No. To me, this is what I want to see too. I would love one time to see hey, because what happens is because he reports in such detail, it becomes the narrative of what's happened backstage.
Yes.
And for him to even say once, you know what, during that time, the person who I was leaning on, I realize now that they were sort of angling for a writing job, or they they were trying to sort of undercut the main guy. Like, that stuff happens all the time, and I've never heard anyone sort of kind of take him take himself to task.
Nobody ever takes him to task, period.